everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday. I'm Tajah, your host, the Mindset Coach. Tonight, we're talking about men and women on mindset. Is it the same? Are we different? Can we stay together? Let's see. So, we're bringing to you two amazing guests. We'll start. Introduce yourself, please, Stefania.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stefania Johnson, aka Stepfire of the Sistership Network. I'm been on radio for probably about close to a year, but I am a businesswoman, entrepreneur. Have my own business selling jewelry, and I'm looking forward to this discussion because this one's going to be a good one. So I appreciate you inviting me on. Thank you so much, Tajah.
Of course. All right, Travis.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Tajah, thank you for having me. I'm Travis Williams. I am a recently retired military guy. Served in the Marine Corps for about 26 years and now transitioned to civilian life where I work in the public sector as a congressional affairs specialist. So being sucked into a lot of today's political type issues, but dipping a toe in and keeping it moving. But yeah, my background has been in a leadership focus and trying to help people be better at the same time, continue to make myself better. So thank you for having me.
Of course. And you know what? That's funny because you said political topic. Even though this isn't a political topic, right? This is definitely a touchy topic or an interesting topic. So I pose it to you all, right? All right, men and women, are we the same on mindset? Can we be? Can you literally bring up your daughter or son, sister and brother in the same manner today? What do you think about that? And I'm talking about on various topics, right? We're talking about, it could be family life. It could just be being, right? Why do we treat men and women different? Is the mindset really different on the things that we want to accomplish in life?
Yeah. So I've been thinking about this subject because it's interesting. I feel that as children, we grow up, we're programmed, I want to say, men and women are programmed differently. So when it comes to mindset, it's all in what is programmed in you as a child or your environment that you're in, you know, whether it be, you know, 2-parent households or just society in general, like what they constitute what a woman role is versus a man's role and how that changes your mind and how you approach life, how you approach decisions that are made in life with your own children, with your own families, business, work environments, political environments. So I think it's I think it's different. Can we work together? We can work together as men and women have. I don't know that we can have the exact same mindset because I think our roles, again, we're programmed for our roles to be a little different. Although things have changed for women, and they're kind of taking on more roles that, you know, in the past were more, you know, relegated to men. I still feel there's still that disparity between both.
I agree. Travis, what you think?
I agree. I think there are influences or influencers on each individual that kind of help shape who we are. Mm-hmm. So we all have our, you know, I agree with Stefania. There's always programming baked in. Mm-hmm. But what happens is there's so many outside stimuli, right, that are kind of bombarding us with our friends. And, you know, now in this virtual era, we got social media. You know, one of the things that I'm often combating in my own household, I've got 2 middle school age children, is access to, you know, keeping their thumbs in check on these devices. Right. Because there's a lot of things as a parent that I feel like I should be the moderator of and how they consume, you know, particularly sensitive topics, you know, whether it's, you know, sex or other thing, alcohol, just these outside factors that me as a parent, I may not be ready for them to, even have an inkling of those types of things. But trying to control how they are exposed to things is a influencer on their personalities, and how they respond to those things are different, in my opinion. And I'll be completely candid. I think there's certainly gender bias in our house, where my daughter, who's 13, is at an age where girls generally, in my opinion, are just more mature than boys, comparable in the same age or whatnot, but they seem to get it often a little bit quicker than boys. And I'm saying that, in the case of my son, who's 1 year behind her, and their outlooks are different. Part of that is personality, where my son is a much more carefree person, and my daughter seems to be a little more goal oriented and driven. Kind of has already got ideas about where she wants to go to college, and my son can barely spell college, and he's happy doing that. But
it's what it is.
Yeah, right. But the other side to that too is just kind of managing your own stuff and not make sure you're projecting things on it. And I think in that, me as a man, as a father, I struggle with that more than my wife does. Where her disposition, she's predisposed to the nurturing and kind of being supportive, where I'm not. Frankly, those are things that I have to work very hard on to display and kind of refine. And part of it is just my professional background, where I'm used to going this way and getting things done, but it that can be certainly something that's not helpful when it comes to raising children and keeping a balance in your family. So I'm aware that there are qualities that I bring that are on face value, I think are great, right? But they don't conform nicely with my family. And the way they do is my wife is the check, right? And so those skills that we both bring, they help modulate, my extra stuff. She can kind of bring it down and help me contribute the way I should, and not like, hey, I'm breaking the machine and in my mind thinking I'm fixing it. I think men more often have that type of approach because, I've heard the men from Mars thing and women from Venus, and we like to fix. I have certainly been a practitioner of that, and it's not always helpful, and it's not consistent with many women that I've heard who say, don't fix, just listen. And that's something that personally I struggle with.
I think that's a great piece to add to Steph's, because what I hear too a lot is not just, gender specific, but it also is a match of collaborating, right? And people got to collaborate, whether they're in a marriage, whether they're in a working environment, whether it's a friendship, right? They're all collaborations. And so mindset is also navigating to the people who embrace yours, but then elevate it, right? And those are the points in the collaboration that matter most. So just like when you talk about your son and daughter, it's not that whether, he is not as goal oriented as her yet, right? And it's not connected to his age or that he's a boy. It's personality, like you said. So that's what I mean as far as mindset between men and women. Can they be the same? And how do we deal with it? Like Stefania, you brought up that, we're raised differently, right? We are programmed. And that's the real thing. Because why are we? Are we treating our children when they're boys and girls the same? Or are we treating them differently, right? And those are the real concerning pieces, because that's what molds them as they get older. And then it keeps them in a box. Like how you just said, Travis, right? I'm the fixer. I'm this. But does that also mean you can't be emotional? Does that mean you can't, bring your guard down at times? Right. A woman, just because she's a nurturer, does that mean she's emotional, right? And I like to be, I I always like to think of those because I feel like I get put in boxes a lot off of mindset, right? And I always want to see like, okay, I'm a nurturer, but I'm not that emotional. People who know me know or don't think to say Taj is emotional, but they want to say maybe stern or goal oriented or other things that come with that. But can't you be a mix of both? Can everybody be a mix of all of it, right? And some things are highlighted a lot more than others. So that's what I like about mindset. It's we have to figure out a way to work together and not just say women should be this, men should be that, and the girls should be raised this way, boys should do that. Because now, right, as we get into this 21st century, a lot of stuff is muddling together. A lot of women are working a lot more. Women are getting paid a lot more. Men are even offering more to stay home and be a part of the family life, right? And I mean that in a sense of where men used to just travel and go to work, or like you said, Trav, right? You were in the service. So a lot of times you missed and then you bring it home, right? Because you said, I go this way. So a lot of your profession was emotionless, right? But you gotta be different in the house. You gotta be different with friends too, right? So those are the points that I like to talk about as far as mindset. So how do we find the balance?
Hey guys, we're going to continue our Cyber Monday deal of free shipping throughout the entire week. So from now till Friday, enjoy free shipping, and that's on both sites. So you have the investing merch and the motivational merch. It's yours. Free shipping now till Friday. Get yours today.
How do we make sure that our children are raised equally? Not saying you're going to do the same exact things with boys and girls, right? We clearly understand that. But how do you make sure that they're raised equally? How do we make sure that men and women feel equal in a relationship, that I'm not just the emotional one here, right? He has to do this too. And he's not just the firm one. I have to be that as well. How do we do that?
I think it's highlighting the special qualities in each as an individual that bring out that personality and that feeling or sense of belonging in a sense, without having to feel like if I'm emotional as a little boy, I'm emotional, I can't be emotional. You have to allow children to be who they are. And I think that's a lot of the disconnect we have even as parents. And, look, I'm not even a parent, but I've seen my nieces and nephews grow. I have, 11 nieces and nephews. I've, been.
You're a parent.
That's close
cousins.
enough.
Look, I'm still a mama bear. Okay. And maybe I don't have children because I was supposed to be a mama bear to everybody else. But at the same token, what I've seen and experienced is that, we have to learn to, and I'm not saying coddle, but you have to be able to allow children to be who they are and kind of maneuver and work with them to say, these things are okay. I don't care if you're a boy or a girl. And it's okay to be emotional in the right setting. Obviously you don't want to be in a situation where you lose a game and they're getting emotional because they lost and they're, stomping their feet and whatever have you. You got to teach them that it's okay to lose. At some point you're going to win, right? And this is how you get there. So I think that's the disconnect sometimes in homes, is that man or woman, husband, wife, or, mother, father, is that we have to make sure that we allow our children to grow and to teach them how to progress in society without being labeled, right? Because I think that's the big thing about labeling. You're a boy, you need to do X. You're a girl, you need to do X. To Travis's point, you talk about your daughter and how she's, a little more mature. Let's talk about the reality of women and men. I mean, they do say women mature faster than men do, right? Scientifically, right? So let's bring facts to the table, right? So when you said that, I was like, well, scientifically, that is a fact. But it's also a segment of what a parent also gives a child. So, and helps them as well to mature. So there's pieces to that. As far as working together, again, it's highlighting just the differences, but not making them bad. not
Correct.
looking at them as that's bad to be acting that way, or, you know, it's, you shouldn't act that way because you're a guy, or you shouldn't act that way because you're a girl. Both can be successful. To your point, it's in the mindset, but you have to teach them how to come into their own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I spend a lot of time thinking about that. And I think part of it though is I've had practice prior to being a father, just because, you know, when you're in leadership positions, particularly in the military, and you have a team that is, you know, gendered both male and female, you know, you have to practice exerting leadership in a fair but firm way, right?
Right.
And often, I wouldn't say often, I say there are times where you as a leader may begin to project certain qualities or things on individual people on your team because they remind you of maybe yourself when at that age, or someone in your family, you know, a younger sister or an uncle or something like that. There's been times where I've had to check that and make sure that I'm being a good steward of the responsibility that I've been issued. You know, if this person who I, you know, can relate to in some way, you know, were to do something that required my interjection as a leader, would I, you know, have the courage and the discipline to address it in the same way I would address the rest of the members on my team? That's something that you have to continually assess yourself on. And when you're a parent, it's doubly as hard because that's a by the minute kind of thing where you know, it could be just a little behavioral situation or something little, you put a mandate out in the house about cleaning up after yourself, and each child broke the rule in the same way, you know, but one may do it more than the other, right? Do I go ham on this one because I repeatedly told this one not to, and then, you know, kind of, hey, you know better, get in there and fix it, or I expect more out of you. You know, it is something that you have to be aware of. I'll give you an example of something that I think about. Making it a point to say goodnight to my children or goodbye before they go to school every night. You know, and the hug and the kiss thing is not exclusive to just my daughter. You know, I make sure that, you know, my son, if he wants to hug and kiss me on the cheek, he can do so, and I'll kiss him back on the cheek. You know, those kind, and that's something that I demonstrate with my own dad, right? But it's those types of things that they really don't have any impact on, you know, defining my son's masculinity. Like, that's all gonna come later on. He's gonna figure that out, you know, and just like I was saying, there's gonna be outside influences that help shape who he thinks he is as a man. I just need to kind of help set the guardrails, and then, you know, the stuff inside the lane, you know, he's going to see things on TV and pop culture and other things that are hopefully positive, that are going to, you know, give color to that.
But look, I'm going to jump in there real quick on you, Trav, because I think that, again, you know, me being the mindset coach, I feel like part of that does help him in his masculinity, because we have been shaped and conditioned, and Steph said programmed, to say that masculinity is only hard, right? Because that's a part of masculinity for him to learn that love and what's soft and emotion, because it's okay for men to hug each other. It's okay for men to cry, and no one says that, right? It's okay for men to cook. They cook. They are, I want to say, probably, right? Not even just excellent, right? In this world we live in, they are top chefs in a lot of the shows you watch, right? It's almost as if it isn't a woman-dominated lane. But when you're in the household, it's a woman's job. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And that's because we were programmed.
Household, though.
Well, I mean, yes, but I'm just saying roles, right? If we think about roles in general, the thing of it all is, again, mindset, because we were programmed to think that's what she does, right? A man doesn't care for the children. They just provide. That's not true. And so, or I should say always true. And so I love the fact that you said that, because I don't know if we, especially as a culture, right, as Black culture do that enough. I know for a fact we don't have a lot of fathers in homes, right, present, but when they are they doing that piece? Because to me, that's way more significant than always showing them that the only kind of love is tough love. The only kind of thing is a funny handshake, or a hit, or that's the only way we show it, opposed to even the constant "I love you, son. I love you, dad." Right? I think that should happen more in households as much as it happens between husband and wife, or even in friends. I've got a new friendship, and this is what I mean about mindset and how we've been programmed. I gotta keep using that word stuff because I love it, because I have a new group of adult friends. And it's so funny I say that because I don't really make new adult friends like that and quickly. And when I say friends, I don't mean associates. Yeah, we met recently, but we really are friends. Like, we've connected in that kind of way. And I remember the first time we got off the phone, after a few times we talked, and one of them said, "I love y'all." I've never said that to a friend that was new. Do you understand? And I was just so taken back, but I loved it because we were all Black women on the call too, which is something, because there are layers to us, and there are certain things that we don't connect with or get close with. You know what I mean? And so that's the thing, because that's mindset. That's mindset. Because why are we programmed like that? And even Steph, you can relate, just being a woman, there's certain things we just don't. And men have it too. But it's so funny. Like, how often do you tell your friends on the phone, do you love them? You know what I mean? Or if it's on a trip and you haven't seen them in a while, is that something you say, especially in today's world where this pandemic is real, right? We're losing people left and right. Are we shifting our mindset to be able to deal with that as men and women, being closer, connecting on those things that maybe we were programmed initially first, but are we breaking out of that?
As somebody who's been in, I guess, what most of society would label as a hyper masculine kind of culture, Marines are bred to be alphas. That's just part of the deal. You have to have confidence about you and what you're doing and saying, and project that confidence so that people feel safer being around you. That's the practical matter of it. But at the same time, though, Tajah, it's very dangerous work, right? And you're aware of, you could be called to sacrifice a lot, right? Let's just say that your personal safety is not the most important thing when you go into work every day. And it's very easy to be in a position where you're kind of hyping your own self up. But my experience has been, I've been exposed to some really strong leaders, patriots of this country, that have done some valorous things, heroic things in combat situations, people that I really look up to. And, crossing paths with those people are always interesting for me, because most often what happens is, "Hey, what's going on, brother? I haven't seen you in a long time." And you reach out for a dap and they give you a bear hug. I have had many situations where I've had, friends for a couple decades now, and it's just customary that we, say the "I love yous" and thing. I think it's part of it maybe related to your experiences, exposure. When you're in a situation or in a profession where you are aware, that things can go bad really quickly, and maybe even a firefighter or some type of first responder, you have, maybe working on an oil rig or something. Well, those professions that often lose people, or you lose colleagues and friends. I think it makes you more aware of your humanity. And when it comes time to express it, I've been in situations where we have lost, friends, attending a memorial service and then seeing, these big, strong, men breaking down in tears and stuff. That's unfortunately something that I've seen firsthand. But I think part of it too, though, Tajah, is exposure, and then your experience with dealing with those things.
I agree, definitely, especially even if you don't come from those backgrounds, the experience of death in your life, is definitely an experience, like you said. I think that definitely counts. What were you going to ask, Steph?
Yeah, that was actually, I mean, he led right into what I was going to say, and maybe I had a different spin to that, and experiences. So we talk about, showing affection and love for, people and humanity. And, it's interesting because sometimes we don't show that sensitive side, or that, because we're very guarded because of our experiences, right? So there could be things that have transpired within our households, within our, families, within friends, whatever have you, or people we thought were friends. So again, you're going to shift that mindset because of the experience that you encountered with one person or a bunch of individuals. That could change that. And I may not want to get close to somebody because my fear of giving myself is that I'm going to get hurt. Right. So that's the counter. So, again, I agree with what Travis said. I think our experiences are also going to shift that mindset because, I have friends who, I'll get off the phone, say, love you, girl, whatever, hang up. My dad was never very, he was military background as well in Europe. He was never one who was very affectionate, was very strong, rigid, whatever have you. We were scared of my dad. But you never did nothing wrong because, if Bob said dad came home, we were hiding in our bedrooms under our covers. But as he got older, I think he started seeing also he's getting older, life is moving forward. His kids are moved away, and he started changing as well and saying, I need to show affection to my children. I need to tell them I love them. And it was very awkward when I first heard my father say to me, not that he never said it, but it was very rare on occasion, I love you. And I was like, my dad said, I love you. Like, and I was like, what do you say? Like, it was like, it was just that relationship, it was like he had to be hard and strong and the provider, although my mother was working as well, but it was, again, that mindset that's what he grew up with, and that's what he was used to. And that was how our family grew. So again, I think your experiences and, what you experience in life and how you bring that into your family environment is what raises us to be who we are and how we manage that mindset.
I definitely agree. And I think this has been great, but I think that we can segue this into, a part 2. So I might have to bring you guys back. We have to break this down mindset into parenting, right?
Yes.
And friendships. And I think we definitely have to talk about those strong factors of childhood. That mindset piece that you talked about with programming, right? We have to talk about that because I feel strongly about those things come up and creep up in your relationships and ultimately your outlook on life because you didn't address them, right? You didn't deal with them. I see it a lot in my coaching with different people, and it's a lot of childhood things that weren't dealt with, right? Or maybe you just didn't deal with them properly, right? Because that's another thing about our culture we don't do. So we have to talk about them so that we can have healthier conversations, healthier relationships, because everything isn't just spousal. These are friendships. These are working environments, right? We have to talk about this mindset because there is a big gap between men and women. But what is it really about? So I'll see you guys on part 2. When? Don't know, but it'll be on Tuesday.